Today, breaking news: Russia's secret war planning has come under intense scrutiny as new intelligence leaks and battlefield patterns suggest that Moscow is not fighting only the war the world sees, but also a quieter, more calculated campaign designed to push Ukraine to the edge without triggering an immediate global response. What is unfolding now appears to be the most dangerous phase of the conflict so far, not because of one massive attack, but because of a layered strategy that blends military pressure, political signaling, and psychological warfare. At first glance, the war looks familiar: missiles strike infrastructure, drones buzz over cities, and frontline clashes continue in eastern and southern regions. But behind these visible actions, analysts believe Russia is executing a long-term plan aimed at exhausting Ukraine rather than defeating it quickly. This approach focuses on stretching Ukraine's defenses, draining resources, and slowly eroding public confidence over time. One key element of this plan is timing. Russian forces appear to be deliberately pacing their major offensives, avoiding full-scale assaults that would provoke immediate escalation from NATO. Instead, pressure is applied in waves, forcing Ukraine to remain on constant high alert. This creates fatigue not only among soldiers but also within civilian life, the economy, and state institutions. Energy infrastructure has become a central target in this hidden strategy. Power grids, heating systems, and fuel depots are repeatedly hit, especially during colder periods. The goal is not just physical damage, but psychological stress. When cities experience blackouts and shortages, daily life becomes a battlefield, and morale becomes as important as military strength. Another layer of this secret plan involves the use of proxy pressure. Belarus plays a critical role here. By allowing Russian troops, equipment, and missiles to operate from its territory, Belarus creates the threat of a northern front without fully committing to war. This forces Ukraine to keep large numbers of troops stationed near the Belarusian border, reducing its ability to reinforce other critical areas. This constant threat from the north may be more valuable to Moscow than an actual invasion. As long as the possibility exists, Ukraine must prepare for it. Preparation costs money, manpower, and attention. It also creates anxiety among civilians living near the border, contributing to a sense of being surrounded. Information warfare is another pillar of the plan. Russian media, online networks, and covert influence campaigns push narratives designed to weaken international support for Ukraine. These messages focus on war fatigue, economic costs, and political divisions in Western countries. The aim is to slow or reduce military aid by making the war seem endless and unwinnable. At the same time, false or exaggerated claims of peace readiness are occasionally floated. These signals are meant to confuse decision makers and create divisions among Ukraine's allies. If even a few governments begin to hesitate, the overall support structure becomes less stable, which is exactly what Moscow wants. On the battlefield, Russian tactics show signs of adaptation. Instead of relying solely on large armored movements, there is increased use of drones, electronic warfare, and long-range strikes. These methods are cheaper, harder to counter completely, and effective at disrupting logistics. Supply lines, ammunition depots, and communication hubs are targeted repeatedly to slow Ukrainian operations without dramatic territorial gains. This slow burn approach also allows Russia to test new weapons and tactics under real combat conditions. Each engagement provides data. Each response from Ukraine and its allies reveals strengths and weaknesses. Over time, this information shapes future moves, making the strategy increasingly refined. Ukraine, meanwhile, faces a difficult balancing act. It must defend its territory, protect civilians, and maintain international support, all while managing limited resources. Every missile intercepted, every city repaired, and every soldier rotated comes at a cost. The secret war plan relies on the belief that Ukraine will feel these costs more sharply over time. Civilian resilience has so far been one of Ukraine's greatest strengths. Despite repeated attacks, daily life continues in many areas. Schools reopen, businesses adapt, and communities support one another. However, prolonged stress can have cumulative effects, and Russia's strategy appears designed to test how long this resilience can last. Diplomatically, Moscow's moves are equally calculated. By maintaining relationships with certain non-Western countries and positioning itself as a counterbalance to Western influence, Russia seeks to avoid total isolation. This diplomatic breathing room supports its war effort by keeping trade routes, financial channels, and political allies partially open. The secret plan also includes legal and political maneuvering, referendums, territorial claims, and administrative changes in occupied areas are used to create a narrative of permanence. Even if the international community rejects these moves, they complicate any future negotiations and give Russia leverage in potential talks. For Ukraine, the risk is not just military defeat but strategic exhaustion. A war that drags on without clear resolution can strain any nation. This is why Kiev continues to push for advanced weapons, air defense systems, and long-term security guarantees. The leadership understands that surviving the hidden aspects of the war is just as important as winning visible battles. Western support remains a decisive factor. Military aid, intelligence sharing, and economic assistance help counterbalance Russia's strategy. However, political changes, elections, and domestic pressures in allied countries introduce uncertainty. Russia's planners are acutely aware of this and tailor their actions to exploit moments of hesitation or transition. The global implications of this secret war plan extend far beyond Ukraine. If a slow, ambiguous strategy proves effective, it could reshape how future conflicts are fought. Other states may adopt similar methods, favoring prolonged pressure over outright invasion, making wars harder to define and even harder to stop. There is also the constant risk of miscalculation. A strike that goes too far, an incident near a NATO border, or a sudden escalation could rapidly expand the conflict. The quiet nature of the plan does not make it safe. In many ways, it makes it more dangerous, because the line between limited war and wider confrontation becomes blurred. As Ukraine stands on the edge, the coming months will be critical. Weather conditions, political decisions, and battlefield developments will all interact in unpredictable ways. Russia's secret war plan depends on patience and persistence. Ukraine's survival depends on resilience, unity, and sustained support from its partners. What is clear is that this conflict is no longer just about territory. It is about endurance, perception, and the ability to shape reality over time. The war that is exposed today is not only fought with tanks and missiles, but with planning, pressure, and the quiet calculation of how long a nation can stand before the weight becomes too heavy. In this unfolding moment, Ukraine remains defiant, but the edge is real. The secret war plan may not guarantee Russia victory, but it ensures the struggle will be long, complex, and unforgiving. The world is watching, and the decisions made now will echo far beyond this battlefield, shaping the future of security, sovereignty, and global order for years to come.